and welcome back to Asaph Music School. This course is entitled Music Theory. In this course we have been discussing music notation, how to read the different parts of the staff, how to identify the different types of notes, and how to name the notes. In our last lesson we talked about how to name the notes in the treble clef and in the bass clef, and so you should be able to find your way around on the musical staff. Today's lesson, as you can see, is going to be a little bit different. We're going to talk about the piano keyboard. And today's lesson is going to be about the piano. A good musician knows how to find his way around on the piano and should be able to identify the names of the notes on the piano and be able to understand how scales are put together. The piano is a good tool to use in talking about music theory because a lot of what we discuss with chromaticism, we talk about scales, chords and things. A lot of these things make a lot more sense when you understand the piano keyboard and how the different notes fit together. And so today we're here at the piano and we're going to talk about how the piano works and as far as music is concerned, and we're going to talk about the different names of notes and that sort of thing. So I hope you've printed out your outline and you have that there in front of you, and let's get that out and we'll look at that and we will discuss the piano keyboard today. Mastery of the piano keyboard is an invaluable skill for every musician. The piano helps the student to understand the relationships between notes and scales, to visualize intervals, to see the need for flats and sharps, and makes the comprehension of music theory much easier. I remember back to my days in college, when I was in my freshman music theory class, I had no piano background, and so when I went into the class, I was kind of behind everyone else. Those that were piano students had a far greater grasp on basic music theory than I did. And so it's good for us, if you've never had any piano background, if you've never had piano lessons, this lesson will be wonderful for you as we begin to understand and comprehend how music is put together. So let's take a look there at notes. Note number 1, the piano keys note names. How do we find out what the names of the notes are on the piano keyboard? Well, the easiest way to find your way around the piano keyboard is to note the groups of 2 black keys and 3 black keys, and then learn the relationship of the white keys to those groups. For example, the note that we call C is to the left of the group of 2 black keys. Let's take a look at our piano keyboard here. If you don't understand what we've talked about so far, this should be very clear for us to understand in just a moment. On the piano keyboard we have white keys and black keys. The white keys are closest to the player, and the black keys are set more towards the front of the keyboard. Towards the back of the keyboard, I should say. And so here we have a group of 2, here we have a group of 3, and you'll notice that there is a repeating pattern. As you go from one side to the other, there is a repeating pattern of this group of 2 black keys and a group of 3 black keys, a group of 2 black keys, and then a group of 3 black keys, a group of 2 black keys, and then another group of 3 black keys. And this pattern repeats itself all the way up to the top of the keyboard. As we begin to look at the piano keyboard, we can look at those groups of keys and from there extrapolate what the different names of the notes are. For example, as we talked about in the notes there, if we find a group of 2 black keys, it doesn't make any difference which group of 2 black keys you find any group of 2 black keys, the white key that is to the immediate left of that group of 2 black keys is going to be the note C. So here's a C. And here's another group of 2 black keys. I'm going to go to the left of those 2 black keys, and here's another C. As I get more towards the middle of the piano, here's another group of 2 black keys, and to the left of that is the note that we call middle C. And so if we go to any group of 2 black keys on the piano keyboard, go immediately to the left of those 2 black keys and play the white note, that will be the note that we call C. Now, if you'll recall from previous lessons, the musical alphabet goes from A to G and then it repeats itself. And the piano keyboard works exactly the same way. Using just the white keys, we can assign a letter name to that key. We've already figured out where C is. We can work our way up and down the keyboard from there to determine the names of the other white keys. If this is middle C, then the white key that's to the right of that white key is going to be D. The next key up is going to be E. So here we go. C, D, E, F, G, and after G we go back to A, if you'll remember. A, B, C. What I've done is I've just played a C scale. I went from C to C. Watch it again. Here's the group of 2 black keys. Start with C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And of course it will keep on going from there. You can also work your way backwards, starting at middle C. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. So we've named all the white key notes just simply by starting from that C. Another thing that may help you, when I was teaching music in the elementary school, I would teach them a little song. I'd have the kids find the group of 2 black keys, and then between those 2 black keys, the white key is called D. And so I would sing a simple song with them like this. I am D, I am D, I am in the middle of the 2 black keys. And that was an easy way for the small children to remember the note D. And from there I taught them to work their way up and down the musical alphabet. And you can do the same thing as well. So from there you should be able to find all the names of the notes on the piano keyboard. After a while you should learn to be able to just identify them at sight. For example, here's a group of 3 black keys. I know that in the second slot of the 3 black keys there, this white key, is the note A. For example, next to the 3 black keys on the left, I know that this note is F. And so I can look at the piano keyboard and look anywhere on there, and in relationship to the 2 black keys, I can identify the white keys. So these are the piano key note names. Some of you may be thinking at this point, if you've not had any piano background before, you may be thinking, well, then what are the black keys for? And that's a very good question. The black keys are what we call flats and sharps. Look at your notes on your outline there. Number 2 says flats and sharps. Flats and sharps. The black keys are the flats and sharps of the white key notes. And for example, we talked about C being here. We find a group of 2 black keys. To the left is note C. If I were to go what's called a half step higher, that would put me at a C sharp. And that would be this black key right here. That's a C sharp. So in our notes it says this: the closest adjacent key to the right is the note's sharp. So if I start here and I go to the next key higher, to the right it's going to be the note's sharp. C to C sharp. If I start with the D and I go up to the next key higher, there's my D sharp. So these black keys here, this would be C sharp, this note would be D sharp. If I were to go to F and go to the black key up here, this is going to be an F sharp. Here's my note G, the black key to the right of that is going to be the G sharp. Here's my white key A, the note to the right of that is going to be an A sharp. And so the black keys can be named the sharp of the key, the white key that is immediately to the left of it. All right, does that make sense? Now, those black keys can also be called flats. Black keys can have 2 different names. It can be called a sharp of a note, or it can be called a flat of another note. So let's go back to our example. Here's our C. If I go to the right, to the black key, that's a C sharp. If, however, I started with the D and I went to the left, I went down a half step, I would call this black key, in this case, a D flat. How about this one here? Here's an E. If I go to the left and I go down a half step, I've gone to an E flat. If I start with my G and go down a half step, I end up on a G flat. If I go to my A and go down a half step, then I'm on an A flat. If I go to my B, go to the next key, the black key to the left of that, I come to a B flat. So now you should realize that the black keys can have 2 different names. This black key right here is to the right of the C, so it can be called a C sharp. It is also to the left of the D, so it can be called a D flat. C sharp or D flat. Down at the bottom of the page I've made a note about this. Notes that are spelled differently but sound the same, such as C sharp and D flat, are called enharmonic notes, and that's a term you ought to be familiar with. C sharp and D flat